All right, Sam?
Yeah, André, how's it going?
Not bad.
Good. Excellent. So doing an unusual daytime podcast today.
Yeah.
As we can see, it's mid-November, but there's light outside, so it must be the middle of the day. And of course, we have radio royalty with us.
We do.
Oh, stop it.
Radio royalty, the return of the king, the Gary King.
Absolutely.
Good to see you guys.
Hey, welcome.
Good to have
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
I've seen your videos, and it's nice to be
That's
part
it.
of one of them.
It's
That's
like,
brilliant.
well, there's actually loads of cameras around. What's going on?
I know.
We thought they just magicked it up.
Yeah, I know. I'm not used to cameras. I'm used to microphones.
Used to microphones.
I used to be used to a microphone. But yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for coming.
Good to see
it's
you.
a real
Thank
pleasure
you.
to have you. And of course, we've worked together. We've known each other through business networking.
Yes.
And it's been a fantastic journey for me alone. And I know, André, you've got involved as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this seemed a very natural juncture to go into a bit of where Gary King comes from, but also about Ashdown Radio, the things that you've been doing around it for businesses. You do so much support for the community and the local businesses around you in Wealden. So I'd love to just hear about that. And I'd love to hear about your journey through Ashdown Radio and where you've got to today.
Yeah. I mean, my interest in radio began not far from here. It was at Radio Mercury in Crawley.
Okay. Yes.
So Radio Mercury launched in October 1984. I was 13, and I was just before that. I was into radio. I wanted to be a radio presenter. I was too young to get involved with commercial radio. I was too young at the time to get involved with hospital radio. But a week after Mercury began, I was invited to the studios and at Broadfield House, and it was a mess because they'd only literally just moved in.
Yeah.
But I entered a competition, and it was the days I used to write answers on a postcard and send it via the post. And I was probably the only person who entered that week because the station had only just launched. But I was invited up to the studios, and I was put on air, had a tour around the studios at Broadfield House. And it was from there on, I said, I want to work in radio. And then 2 years later, got involved with hospital radio at Hayward Heath. That's what was now Cookfield, what was Cookfield Hospital. Subsequently moved to the other side of Hayward Heath, what is now the Princess Royal Hospital. I was involved with hospital radio well into the early 2000s. But during the 90s, a lot of stations were coming on. There was a lot of small stations coming on doing trial broadcasts for 4 weeks, what was called a restricted service license, RSL. And I was involved with a group in Burgess Hill, which is now More Radio. I was involved with stations in Red Hill and elsewhere as well. We just came on air for 4 weeks, did a station and disappeared again. And it was in 2002, part of the hospital radio. We were in Uckfield. And we did an outside event from the Uckfield Festival. Fortunately, the festival no longer exists. But one of the four of us who set up the radio station turned around, I think it was probably me, we could put a radio station on for the Uckfield Festival. And a year later, 2003, we did a 4-week broadcast from the Picture House Cinema in Uckfield from a popcorn room, which in the summer of 2003 got to around 50 degrees Celsius. We had no air conditioning. It was like a little sauna in there.
Brilliant.
And so we started as a 4-week station, and then 2010 went full time as Uckfield FM. And then, cut a long story short, we rebranded in 2022 because Ofcom had given us the go-ahead to expand into Crowborough. And people consume radio differently now from the 80s when it was just FM. It's now apps. People consume radio differently. So we rebranded to Ashdown Radio. And so that's my radio journey. I used to do a show. I haven't done a radio program for a couple of years now. Radio is consumed differently these days, and we had to move with the times. But we're based on a farm site on the outskirts of Uckfield. We've got a team of around 40 volunteers. And that's the thing with volunteers. People think, we're all paid. I'm the only person employed. But that's my role, is to look after the advertising and bring income to keep the station on air. But we're one of 300 community radio stations in the country, and there's about 6 or 7 operating in Sussex, all providing a local radio service for our own particular areas.
Brilliant. And how does that tie into, you mentioned before about how you do so much work around just generally around the community, around promoting great things that are going on, but also the local businesses. You bring them together with some expos that you organise yourself. So how did that all come about? What's the story there?
Well, we've always done interviews. I mean, every morning we talk to different people, groups, charities, and that's part of our remit is to talk about what's going on in the community with local groups. They come in for 10, 15 minutes to talk about what they're doing. I started doing, we first did an expo back in 2015, and that was off the back of looking at what other people were doing. And there was nothing going on in Uckfield. And I said, well, I had business contact because looking after businesses who advertise with us and sponsor programs. So it was bringing them all together in one place, doing similar things to what other people were doing, but on a smaller scale. So we were running the Uckfield Business Expo at the Civic Centre, and we could only get 30 to 40 businesses max into the two rooms. But obviously parking's limited. Time-wise, you can park in a car park in Uckfield. So we did expos all the way until 2019. I used to go to other people's expos as well. And every expo is different. Some had seminars. The ones we had in Uckfield didn't have seminars. It was literally a day of networking. Everyone had a table. They all paid whatever, 70, 80 pounds for a space, and the day ran itself. But for us, it brought businesses together, some of them who were advertisers, some who never advertised with us before, but it just got them involved with some of the events we did. And then COVID happened, and when we obviously had to stop doing those sort of things, so we didn't do them for a couple of years. And then after the rebrand to Ashdown Radio, it was a case of, well, we've outgrown the Civic Centre. We need to do this on a larger scale. So we're already members. We were members of all the 4 chambers commerces in Wealden, so Uckfield, Crowborough, Heathfield, and Hailsham. And I sort of said to them, look, we've got no events like this on in Uckfield. Would you be interested in teaming together, putting this event on in association with the 4 chambers? And they all said, well, yeah, no problem. Brilliant idea. So all 4 chambers come along. We head it up. And for us, it's a great fundraising event because we can bring all the businesses together. And we do it all now. Everything we do, pretty much all my events, are now at the East Sussex National Hotel in Uckfield. They're a great team, and they're great, so supportive. And it's an ideal venue because 400 or so car spaces, you haven't got to worry about, I've got to get out of the car park in 3 hours or whatever. And it's just all sent in a central place. So we did the first Wealden Expo a couple of years ago. Great success, and we're already planning the dates for next year. And it's just, again, an opportunity to get the businesses together. We did do some seminars, but again, I think most people didn't need the seminars. I think most people were happy just to have a wander around and network and talk to people. It's a great location. You can just sit in the hotel and have a drink.
Absolutely.
Lovely Sussex.
It's so good. I mean, and so like you say, the location is perfect. The vibe is perfect. Whether the weather is good or bad, there's enough there for you to just go, actually, I feel like I've almost gone on an excursion somewhere, and my mind can focus on actually making those connections, because what you built up there is a really great community of people who are, repeated connections a lot of the time, but that's fantastic. And you get new blood in there who are getting to meet some people who are already very supportive of each other, and we see it all the time on LinkedIn, on other social media platforms. The people that regularly attend your expos and your events are very, very keen on helping each other out. I mean, that's wonderful.
What we've also started, we did do just prior to the first Wealden Business Expo, did a networking lunch and mini expo. And what that's achieved is, again, different people come. Some people who've never done an expo before, scared of doing an expo. They've come to our networking expo, maybe the first time they came as a guest. Next time because we do 2 of these a year, we do one in March and one in October. They then say, okay, one girl said to me, a lady said to me recently, I need to put my big girl pants on. And she doesn't do expos, but she came along, needed to, she's done her first expo, exhibit in a small group. She's now ready, and this is the same for a lot of people. They're now ready to make their journey to do a bigger expo. And there are so many expos in the area. There's ones in Brighton, Eastbourne, East Grinstead, all offering something different, with different opportunities, different size spaces. We try to keep it simple, straightforward, simple pricing, etc. Designed to allow any type of business to showcase themselves.
And I'll make a massive plug for this because I have exhibited at your two of the expos, one of the mini one and your summer one, and they're fantastic events. And it's great to, like you say, it's that very relaxed atmosphere. And I think the first time I exhibited was back last year, and it was the first, and it's a similar sort of story. I hadn't done it before. I went to the lunch expo before it, and it's like, okay, let's try this. And you sort of do it, you learn, but you're in an environment of other supportive businesses. So for anybody who's trying to or looking, thinking, that's not really for me, or I've been a bit put off by maybe the grand scale of what I see when I go to other places, yours is a fantastic platform.
Thank you.
And it's so brilliantly run as well.
And it's a great, there's lots of people coming from all over the place. It's not just Uckfield, Crowborough, Heathfield, Hailsham Way. We've had businesses from Hastings going into West Sussex as well, from Crawley. So, and they've all heard about it. They've heard what we're doing, and they want to get business from our area. Wealden is a great area, great place to work and live, and people want to do business in Wealden.
Yeah, fantastic. And I'll extend an extra thank you for allowing me to monopolise the space in July. So I was saying, you want to do some headshots? Sure, you can have this corner. No, Gary, I'm just going to take up the whole room.
But you're great, and you did a fantastic job with so many people. You were still there for ages.
Yes, it was end to end for me. Yeah. Which is, hey, that's great. And I've seen plenty of the photos that I've taken go up in people's LinkedIn profiles, and I always love that. And you think, great, fantastic. You've got something great out of it, and it's great to deliver that and have the platform to do it in places like your expo. It's brilliant.
We have. We might have 2 or 3 photographers at an expo.
Yes.
But I make sure you're not next to each other, near each other.
And
we all talk to each other
anyway.
Exactly.
And we've got some, and the thing is, what I always say to businesses, if you're worried about other competing businesses being there, is look, we all have our own unique client base. People gravitate towards us for all sorts of reasons, not just because of what we're offering, but because of who we are and what we do. So I don't view other photographers there as competition. I view them as allies to go, actually, I know, I'll name drop them. Bex, Miney, fantastic photographer who does an amazing branding work. Just the vibrancy and the color of what she does. If you want that kind of thing, she's the person to go to, 100%. I know Michelle Wallace goes there. Some excellent candid photography that she does around mostly outdoor events, but I've seen some of her other work as well. Yeah. And she's great at capturing the moment. If you want those sorts of photos for your outdoor shoot, look her up. She's amazing to work with. I've spoken with her multiple times, and Bex, and they're just so friendly and approachable. So again, not competition for me. We're friends and allies that are trying to help push each other's businesses up. So don't be put off by that.
No, and when I plan the rooms, when people book for our events, I never get anyone say, make sure I'm not next to so-and-so. But I try not to put you near each other anyway, because the last thing you want is to be talking to someone and you've got your competition potential. I mean, it's like having a row of 3. It's like having a row of 3. Right? It's like having a row of 3 solicitors next to each other. They will sit next to each other at breakfast and lunch meetings, guaranteed. But when you're at an expo, I try to separate so that people can have private conversations without other people hearing.
Yeah, of course. But and your next big expo's in July 2026.
So yes, got the big next Wealden Business Expos 9th of July at the East Sussex National, and we'll have a networking lunch event in March and another one in October 2026.
When can people sign up for those?
All in the new year. I'm gonna get Christmas out of the way first. Let's get Christmas and New Year out of the way. Open bookings all on the Ashdown Radio website.
Brilliant.
From early January, and hoping to make it a good big event again in next year.
That's incredible. I think obviously Sam before we met, Sam introduced me to you
Yeah.
on the idea of Gary King and who he was and who he is. And, I was like,
And also the other way around on the idea of André.
Well, yes.
This was like, this was either going to go one of two ways.
yeah,
It was either
exactly.
a marriage made in heaven, which thankfully it's turned out to be,
Yes.
or a call to the police.
Well,
oh, wait,
we haven't got that
please,
far
there's
yet.
no need.
Yes.
I haven't got that
No
far
need.
yet.
In fact, I drove here this morning.
Don't start that gag. Don't start that gag again.
It took me like 6 hours to drive for 25 minutes. But I think I just find it so incredible how you have this role in Ashdown Radio, but then you also have this going on behind the scenes where you are putting up these events, the community awards night, all of those sorts of things that they're time consuming.
It's time consuming, but as a community radio station, we have to be funded by more than just advertising and sponsorship. That's what most radio stations, you when you listen to the likes of Heart, More, etc., they are commercial radio stations. Community radio has some rules to protect the commercial radio networks, not so much in this area, but in cities where when community radio was starting to be licensed, commercial radio going, hang on a minute, you're going to be taking all the revenue away from. So there are some rules, and we have to be funded by 50% more than just advertising. So we have to go for grants, donations, and grant funding has become a lot difficult in the last few years. We're not a charity, we're a not-for-profit organisation, as I said, run by volunteers. So these events, and we've been doing community awards nights since 2017, these events raise additional money away from advertising and sponsorship. So every year we have to put a report into Ofcom to say, this is our finances for the year. And they will make sure that we're not falling foul of the rule of being over. So we have to show that we've done more than just brought our income from out. And it will relax over time. I mean, if you those who follow radio, there are not many. There used to be lots of commercial radio stations. A lot of them now are owned by two groups, and that's Bauer, who own the stations of Greatest Hits Radio, Absolute, and Global, which is Heart, LBC, and Smooth. Okay. And in this area, in Sussex, we used to have Southern Sound Radio in Brighton, which started in '83, Radio Mercury in Crawley, Invicta Radio in Kent, and Ocean Sound down in Portsmouth. They're all now either Heart or become, well, actually, all of those all became Heart or Power FM or whatever station it was at the time.
Yeah, I will give a little plug to Radio Crawsham. Who are starting to slowly build up.
Yeah, and they're an online station. And they're doing wonders as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been in touch with Ashley at Radio Crawsham, and he's reached out to me just wanting some advice on how we do advertise, because obviously I look after all the advertising and that, and as an online station, it's totally different because you've got we've got listening figures as are online, but we can also say, well, people listen to us on FM. Whereas as Ashley and the team at Radio Crawsham have got to do, they have got is an online presence. So it's getting that information across to businesses in Crawley and Horsham who might want to advertise on a local station. But again, people ask that device behind me to play it. I'm not going to mention it in case it comes live again. But businesses want to advertise on a local station. There are opportunities available. Yeah,
absolutely. And actually, I spoke to him myself. He's a really driven guy who wants to make a massive success of it. And he's really offering out some very attractive packages to businesses who are trying to get more local exposure around Crawley, Horsham area. So, and like you say, it's all online, so people can download the Radio Crawsham app and listen that way, and that really helps them out, and it just helps build another burgeoning community. Which just from what you've been saying around how you've done things, I see so much potential with them as well. And the more we can help our local businesses and local radio stations, we should. So because of the way that it keeps feeding into the rest of the community, the rest of our local businesses, our local committee members, etc. I think it's an invaluable thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, since Radio Mercury became Hearts, and that was what, 15 years ago, probably now, if not more. This area hasn't had a local station.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Susie Radio, which broadcasts out of Red Hill, which goes to the outskirts of Crawley. Mid Sussex Radio, again, all these stations are on FM, which comes out of Burgess Hill, which is covering the Mid Sussex area. There isn't one apart from Radio Crawsham, which is only online at the moment. And if they were able to get an FM license in time, DAB as well is they're advertising DAB licenses.
Yeah.
But you've got to. It's the cost of that to get onto it is a bit of a cost, and you've got to get more than. You've got to have a number of stations on there. But if this area got its own DAB, mini DAB area, Radio Crawsham could be on DAB.
Yeah, of course.
Otherwise, it's also waiting for Ofcom to say, okay, there's spectrum available. Do you want to go on FM? But again, that's another leap. It's all very well being online.
Yeah.
It's evolving, but technology is evolving. I mean, some people say that DAB in 10 years is going to be replaced by Wi-Fi because cars will be Wi-Fi enabled. So at the moment, we've got all the apps. You've got Radio Player, you've got TuneIn, just the radio station's own apps. You'll be able to listen to those stations via your car, via your radio. Your car is a Wi-Fi. I mean, some cars already have got mobile technology built in, but in the next 10 years...
Yeah, may well be. Yeah.
It's signal. It's something. I mean, you know what it's like on a mobile
Yes.
signal.
Yeah.
You're suddenly listening to a station, it just disappears.
It just disappears. Yes,
Because
exactly. Yes,
you've lost
yes,
your
yes,
4G
yes.
connection.
Yeah.
Until that improves,
Yeah.
FM, DAB is still the most popular way to listen to radio in cars. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's it. And I think that's probably, and I might be completely wrong here, but that's the majority of listeners, would you say? Is people on their cars driving to and from work or driving to places? Or are we still seeing a big influence of like people actually at home enjoying listening to the radio?
I think people who still have the traditional radio at home have us on. Alexa, sorry, mention her name again. The devices in people's houses make it quicker and easier because, especially if you're going from one station to another, if you're going from Radio 2, which is on 89.1 up the other end, you've got to twiddle knob or go to the frequency, whereas you can just say to the station, to the device, please play. So I think in people's homes, people still have a stereo unit maybe, but they do have the device. People listen to radio through the television on satellite and Freeview.
Yes.
We're not on there, but the likes of Hearts, Smooth, LBC are all on TV sets, and some people just listen to the TV while working at home. And that's the thing. A lot more home working, people have the radio on in the background.
Yeah.
I can't have the radio on. If I'm working in the back, I need to be concentrating.
Yes,
A lot of people work from home. They will have the radio on in the background, and that's why online radio, our online listenership, especially at Ashdown Radio, has gone up over the last 5 years because more and more people are working from home and they've got smart devices.
Brilliant.
That's it. And I think it's so, I feel like we went through a phase, or I definitely went through a phase of like, oh, you now have Spotify, so you can create your own playlist and listen to whatever you like. But I think you get to a point where you just listen to what you like all the time and you don't listen to anything else. It's literally a song after a song and there's no stories, nothing else. It's just music that you chose or that you liked. And I've now gone back to radio because it's like, no, I actually want to be surprised. I actually want to listen to someone talk about whatever, or be surprised by the next song, which wasn't planned.
I think younger people are used to listening to Spotify or whatever means they listen to music. I think those of my age and above are probably still listening to radio rather than, I mean, I listen to Spotify. I've got Spotify on my phone. I'll listen to that in the car sometimes. If I don't want to listen to the radio, I'll listen to Spotify. As you say, it's my choice of music. I can turn the volume up and sing along to my heart's content as long as I'm driving by myself with my Spotify playlist. It's fine. But yeah, I think those of a certain age, 40, 45 plus, are probably still listening to the radio more than Spotify. I might be wrong.
Well, I mean, it's partly what they grew up with, really. And I think, this brings back vivid memories for me, when I was in my school days. My dad used to drive me and my brother to school, and every morning there'd be a fight about what radio station goes on. So back in those days, it was Chris Tarrant on Capital FM, Zoe Ball on Radio 1, and our dad was basically like, no, we're going to listen to Radio 4. And of course, to kids of that age, Radio 4 was just stuffy and boring, right? And I'm just like, I don't want to hear about current affairs. I just want to hear Chris Tarrant make fart jokes, right? So, and there's, I have so many vivid memories of it just like plugging in and like my brother like changing the station midway and those things. It was like a way that families connected. It was a way that people and individuals connected, in the way that in a world that's becoming more and more disparate. People who grew up with those sorts of things are more likely to stick with it because it's a familiar entity. But it's a great opportunity now, particularly with more local stations coming up, to go, okay, well, how can we innovate and keep that which makes radio so critical to some people, but approach a generation who consume things differently. And there's a lot of opportunities there. It's just about understanding which way to navigate.
I mean, 30, 40 years ago, when you had the likes of Southern Sound, Southern FM and Radio Mercury, people would listen to those stations because they were talking to what was going on in the area, the travel news, the weather, local news. That has gone now from commercial. The only local stations we have in Sussex, covering Sussex, are BBC Radio Sussex, and what local news you get from Greatest Hits Radio, which is a couple of minutes at the top and bottom of the hour. Whereas community radio, we've almost replaced what was the commercial radio stations like Southern and that, because we are talking about what's going on in the air. We're not afraid to do an interview with someone, whereas a lot of, in the commercial radio sector, it's got to be music. Not everyone wants music. I mean, you look at what's called RAJAR, which are the audience research figures, which is what commercial radio go by. No community, but there's one community radio station down in Cornwall, North Devon, who are RAJAR'd. They pay a lot of money to be RAJAR'd to get figures, but that is really for the national advertising sales houses be able to say, okay, we'll put some business your way because you've got this amount of audience. But community radio can't afford to be all measured by that. But I think a lot more people are listening to community radio over other stations these days, but we don't know because it's not covered. We did a survey last year. We had a local garage in Uckfield, and I got them to, when they switched on a car to do a service, to note down the radio station, which was tuned in at the time of switch on. And we were the fourth most listened to radio station behind BBC Radio 1, BBC Radio 2 and Heart.
Wow.
We were the most listened to local station on there.
What a feat that is.
Well ahead of Moore, well ahead of, which Moore goes just into Uckfield and the surrounding villages, but more than BBC Radio Sussex, because I think people want to have mixed balance of music. They want to be spoken to. They don't want to be talked at, but they want to be, they want someone to communicate with them, telling them what's going on. And they want, I mean, interviews are great. We get groups coming in. We promote it beforehand. The person coming in for an interview promotes it, and there's more listeners to that interview. And plus, we put the interviews back up on the website as well to listen to afterwards. So people who come into a studio, never been interviewed before, come in really nervous. Our presenters make them all at ease. And they, after their 10, 15 minutes, they go, well, that was great. That went quick. When can I come back in again? But they have the opportunity to listen to themselves again. And that's one thing I hate doing, is listening back to myself. I mean, you two, I mean, you were at our Community Awards night in September. There it is. Great to see Mrs. King's vase.
Yes.
Table display is prominent as part of this podcast today.
Saved it just for today. It was a promise I made.
It's looking good. It's looking good.
Absolutely.
It's looking good. But the your involvement with that night was. Thank you.
Well, as you know, Gary, and as everyone who was there will know, I'm, my event photography, I'm super shy and reserved, and I just stay in the corner and say nothing, and just kind of wait for the ground to swallow me up, and that's how I go about things, really. That's my memory of the day, anyway.
I definitely didn't see you. I definitely didn't see you. Yes, but
I heard you.
I definitely didn't hear you popping around everywhere.
Going back to sorry, I've just lost my train of thought. But going back, I don't like. You sent me the video. The highlights video was brilliant because I wasn't in it, and you couldn't hear me. I've only watched a little bit. I only watched a little bit of the full video. I've not sat down and watched the whole lot because I just can't. I can't sit down and watch myself.
You really need to go to minute 14, 20 seconds. That's where the magic happens.
Was it a minute?
14, 20 seconds.
14, 20 seconds. Okay, right. I'll remember that. But no, I mean, thank you for what you did for that. And that was off the back of us meeting at...
Yeah.
I think it was the hotel's Easter market. I met you first.
It was
time,
the Easter market,
the Easter market at the hotel. And you planted that seed that I needed to get our awards night visual. Because that was the first time we've ever had the event put onto video before. And it gave the opportunity for those who were there on the night and those who couldn't make it to be able to at least look at it and see their name come up on lights and see themselves on the stage, etc.
Yeah, I mean, Andre's videography there was incredible. I mean, it just captured so many amazing moments, and the highlight reel itself was just like, this shows the splendor of the venue, but also just how much that meant to a lot of people because.
You kept the crowd going. Because obviously having winners come from one end of the room to the front.
They had a long journey to go. I feel like that itself needed applause.
And every so often the clapping started going, and you were there, right, go, keep the clapping going.
I don't know who this was. But someone came up to me towards the end and said, "So, have they just let you out of the asylum for the day?"
Really? Okay.
And I'm thinking, do you know what? Maybe. I mean, if that was true, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have the insight as to whether I'd just been let out of an asylum.
I'd love to know who that was. Anyway.
It's hilarious. But it was
on the video later. Show me. I'll pinpoint them.
I just fantastic. But it was a great vibe, and I thought
with 300 people, and that's that. I mean, we packed. That's with all the staging, with you guys, with your position of the cameras. We wouldn't have been able to get more than 300 people in there anyway. But no, that was a great night, and we will do that again. Another Community Awards 2027.
But tell us a bit more about that. So for people who are uninitiated with this, so because it was the first time that I'd been there, of course, and grabbing the photos was an incredible experience. And geeing the crowd on. Just to keep the vibe going, I thought it needed it, I wanted to make sure that people going up on the stage, you can see in their eyes how much that awards meant to them. So I'm like, look, guys, let's just keep it going because they absolutely deserve that accolade going up. But tell us about where that all comes from and just generally about this Community Awards. What is it about and who is involved and where is it going?
So obviously we first came up with the idea in 2017. The Business Awards, which the Chamber of Commerce has run since 2012. I was involved with the running of that with the Chamber over the last 13, 14 years. And I just felt as another event, fundraising event, we could do similar to the Business Awards, but make it based on what activities, the celebration of achievements in the Uckfield area and now Crowborough and Heathfield surrounding area. And we'd never had anything like this in Uckfield. So it was off the back of my experience with working with the Chamber, with the Business Awards to set up the Community Awards. And in this one and the previous one in 2023, we've partnered with the Wealden, what is now known as Wealden Volunteering. Used to be Uckfield Volunteer Centre until 2 years ago. And because they were doing their own little event, I said, well, why don't we collaborate, work together? They help me. We've come up with some different categories. We've changed some of the categories we had from 2023 to what we had in 2019 and 2017. to freshen it up. Some categories didn't get as many nominations as we thought.
Sure.
We thought, well, okay, maybe we need to change things around. So we've got categories like Parent Guardian of the Year, Teacher of the Year, Charity of the Year, Charity Fundraiser of the Year. And the idea is that the local people around our area nominated these people via our website. All those nominations came in. We had a closing date. All the nominations then went to the judges, which are the sponsors of the categories. They had a period of 4 weeks or so to go through and judge them. Now, some of them judged it by reading what everyone had written in their applications. Some made contact with those who nominated, or even got as far as contacting they sort of pinpointed their 3 finalists and had a one-to-one chat with them over the phone, or might have even met up with them. And then they decided out of their nominations, their finalists, and including their winner. And then we announced those finalists through on Airstream, on our social media and website. I then got in contact with them all to say, you've been nominated, please send me a photo. I'll send you details about how to get tickets to the event. And until the day itself, we had every finalist there, bar 2. And then unfortunately 1 or 2 fell ill on the day, so wasn't able to make it. But no, it's a great event. Yeah. But it's something we couldn't do. Like the business, we work in parallel with the Business Awards. Business Awards is every 2 years. The Community Awards is every 2 years as well. So we mix it accordingly, and it works well. Again, we do everything at the East Sussex National.
Of course, and he had some great sponsors behind it as well. That obviously providing, helping to build the whole infrastructure around it.
I mean, we have to pay for the AV, or pay for all the trophies. Somehow we had to pay for the photography and the videography. That put the bill up.
God,
dear. God, dear.
I mean, just look at these guys. You think we pay peanuts? What?
So the cost of that, and then we then work out what we need to charge. But I mean, you can go to awards nights in Brighton, Eastbourne, and no disrespect to the venues, but some of the awards nights you could be paying in excess of £90 each, and we were charging 50 to 55, and that was based on getting some little profit from
making that balance sheet work.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it's there to celebrate the achievements of people across our area. We also made some additional revenue off the back of this, and also we had a raffle on the night, which again raised money for us and split them with Wealden volunteering as well, because they need to they have to be funded by donations to keep the work what they do in the area.
Exactly on that. And André, I'm interested to know what you think about this, because from seeing the event when we were doing it, what I'm just observing is people kind of understanding that there's so many of these award categories that are just thankless normally. So people are just working, every hour that God sends to do something great for their community, and they're not. I mean, they just do it because they feel duty bound to. Which they've been.
The important thing is they've been recognised.
They've been recognised for it
by someone.
Yes.
who they know, or someone. I mean, Carer of the Year. The people who nominated Carer of the Year were people who had used those carers. Themselves.
Yes. And they get recognised by those people, but also everyone who's there. The amount of support and admiration that you could just see in people's faces when they're hearing about the things they've done. When people gave their little speeches at the podium as well. Yes. I'm looking around. I'm in my camera mode, going, all right, let's capture those moments, and you're kind of overwhelmed because there's so much, and there's so much just joyous, joyous vibes that people are exuding off.
But the other finalists as well. Though there can only be one winner, but some of the other finalists were well deserved of an award as well, and it's recognising them as well. But they were there part of the night. They brought their friends. They brought their family. I hope they had a good night, and they walked. Everyone walked away with a certificate, but unfortunately there was only 14 trophies to
I
give
took
out.
my own trophy, Gary. I got mine.
I know, you've got yours. It's there.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I think it was a phenomenal night, and the amount of work that needs to go behind the scenes to make a night like that happen must be just
Something else.
gigantic.
Yeah, I mean, it's going. I mean, without the help of Judith, I said on the night, Judith at Wealden Volunteering and Beth Baldwin at the hotel. If I didn't have those two helping me, being at the end of the phone, it wouldn't have gone as smoothly as it did. And you two as well on the night.
To
record it all.
Helpful disruptors that we were. Yes. Also, actually, do you know what, Gary? Let's do it. Shout out to Beth Baldwin, 10 years at East Sussex National.
She was a mere child when she started. That's brilliant because you go to some places and the team
It's ever changing.
It's ever changing. In hospitality, to make it to 10 years is an achievement.
She's built some amazing things up. You know, when I first got involved with the East Sussex National through your lunch event, she graciously asked me if I would do some photos for their first food, drink and makers festival last year. Yeah. And it's just I go there and think, how did you put this together? This is great. I mean, it's an imaginative event with just a lovely vibe, using
the space they've got
beautifully. And hats off to you for doing that. And that takes, that obviously her experience that she gained to get there, but also just the tenacity of wanting to create something great and unique. That she repeated again this year, great success. And long may that continue. And long may people who like her, who stay for the long distance, they're building something. They're building towards a vision, and that it's incredible to see the fruits of that.
And for both us and Beth's events as well, we've both got a list of people we can call upon to say, we're doing these events, would you like to get involved? And a lot of them say, we'll come back again.
Yeah.
Because
no doubt,
they know that they'll get a good day, and they know that the footfall will be good as well. So, it's brilliant.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sure she's planning Easter and the Food Makers Festival again for next year.
Yeah, she probably is.
Already on it.
I've already got my dates sorted.
Good. Yeah.
She's already bullied me into getting my dates sorted for next year. She'll work around that. But not just Beth. The whole team at the hotel are great, and they've been very, very supportive of me and the events we put on, and well, may that hopefully continue.
Excellent.
Because they clearly also see the importance of actually building a community. And I think nowadays, and I think I mentioned this almost in every single podcast, but I feel like everyone is just so focused on what they're doing and what they need to do and what their day-to-day life is, that I think we kind of just have these blinders on, and we were just going in our own way, minding our own business, not networking, not communicating with anybody. That actually just having a community radio station where you can listen to what the businesses around you are doing. And these are actual people that live around you. Their businesses work around you, about the news where you live. And then you've got these amazing evenings where you've got a whole community together to celebrate people that otherwise would be completely in the dark. And you just bring them up, even if they don't win the prize, but just the fact that they actually got mentioned.
Exactly.
And they're connected to all the other people in the room now. And that's wonderful.
It brings their profile up, but also, more importantly, it brings the profile of the station up. There's some people who might have come to the event who've never heard of Ashdown Radio because they don't normally listen to radio, maybe, or they didn't know we exist. So these events help magnify both them, the businesses who are involved with the events, and more importantly, putting Ashdown Radio on the map, as it were.
Fantastic. Excellent. And Gary, look, for the last little section of this podcast, I want to focus back on the king himself, right? Because
I think I might need a drink.
Well, there you go. I'll put something special in there afterwards, right? So I want to just ask you something. You sent me a PowerPoint presentation that
just
had
to give you
just a few little, some of the slides, of course, you were presenting. What was this for?
I was doing a presentation to Helsham Chambers Chamber of Commerce recently, and I had 5 minutes.
Yes.
But I did a presentation for another group, and which was 10 minutes. So basically, it was 21 slides, which I did in 10 minutes for one group and 5 minutes for another. So but I've now got that available for any other chamber who'd like me to present to.
So you sent this to me, and of course, a lot of these slides have no context.
No.
They just have a year and a photo.
Yeah.
And there was one, and I think it's from 1986, I want to say.
Yes.
Where
that was
there's a photo of you when what looks like, I guess, a time period appropriate equipment in front of you.
Yeah.
But the look in your eyes, it's like you're about to set the place on fire. Okay, I'll put this on the screen so people can see what I'm talking about.
I remember because that was taken at Hospital Radio Uckfield, and it was the first time I sat in the presenter's chair to do a program, to even just to do a link to introduce the song, and someone took a photo of me, and that photo is still, as you can see, still there. It's probably sheer panic. Because I remember the first song I introduced on Hospital Radio Uckfield, it was on a children's show. I actually took over the children's ward program when I first started Hospital Radio. But that photo would have been taken when I was in training, as it were. And it was Le Freak by Chic. That was the first time. But that was probably nerves. Like, I'm sat here, I'm about to do a thing. But then someone took a photo, shoved a camera, and the photos were sent to TruePrint, as they were. God. Everyone had back in 1986. So no, that was my first experience of being in a radio studio about to present my own, or do a couple of songs. Yeah.
So what was it that really drove you to this? So you explained to us at the beginning about kind of a bit of a timeline of things, but where does that passion and fire come from that really drove you to go into radio?
I think when Southern Sound was announced it was going to launch in 83, I was 12 years old, and I think I just heard about radio. Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind. But then there's a photo in that collection from 1974 with me wearing a pair of headphones.
Yes.
My parents, my grandparents, obviously thought I was always had a microphone. And do you remember reel-to-reel machine?
Sure, the tapes.
My parents had one of those, and I was always singing into one of those. So I think my interest in radio has been there for a long time. And when commercial radio began, I remember listening to the test transmissions of Southern Sound and Radio Mercury. I mean, some people in the radio industry call that being an anorak. Probably I was back then. But when I was at college, school, I got work experience. I had a week at Southern Sound and a week at Radio Sussex. I was fortunate to work at radio, or what was then became BBC Southern Counties Radio. I worked there for a couple of years on the sports programme in the mid-90s, just again helping out, doing the football results and reading out the local football scores. But all that work I did meant that I was able to I got interested in doing a sports show at Hospital Radio, and during the RSL, the temporary stations we did in Uckfield as well. But yeah, it's all sort of next year, 40 years since 40 years since I've been on the radio.
Well, I wasn't going to mention that, Gary. Really. I was going to let people guess your youthful complexion.
I know.
But,
I was 15 when I joined Hospital Radio. And at the time, you could join Hospital Radio at 15. Nowadays, you've got to be 18 to be involved. And a lot of people, we get people coming to us to say, could they do work experience? And I sort of say, unfortunately, we're not in a position to be able to offer work experience placements.
But how can young people get involved then? How can someone who's got the same sort of fire in their belly that you did, what could they do?
Unfortunately, it's almost waiting till they're 18. Unless there is a group and another station which are geared up to be able to have children, because obviously with DBS, we don't. We have had a couple of under 18s in the past, but they've been chaperoned by their parents. That would be the only other way of being able to do it.
Is there, I don't know, man, just a thought for the table, I guess. Is there a space or a gap for youth groups who might otherwise, because I remember that, back when I was in Scouts and things, we sometimes had those days where we play with the old ham radios. And even things like that, to just get kids kind of, exposed to these things, even if it's not actually really doing stuff.
There are some community stations in the country which are offering training to young people.
Yeah.
But they are geared up to do that.
Yeah. So they have the infrastructure and all the...
We haven't got the facilities. Proper second studio. We've got 2 studios, but one is main broadcast and one's really not in a position to be used as only as an emergency studio. But there are some community stations who've got 3 or 4 studios in their place, and they have groups coming in on a Saturday, and they are geared up to be able to do training for young people. You mentioned Scouts. I mean, there's Scout Radio, which come on to do with Scout Jamboree Radio.
Sure.
Whenever they've got a jamboree, there's radio stations. So radio stations pop up time for different things. I think there's a station in Leicester which is called Takeover. I don't know if it still exists. Takeover Radio, which is run by children. So there are stations like that, but they're all every community station operates differently. There's no one sort of one fits all type environment.
I think with today's technology as well, I remember growing up in school, we had school radio, and you could be, obviously it was only broadcasted to the school, nowhere else, but also, children nowadays have access to a laptop, microphone, you can stream it, then you can just use a program like OBS or whatever to just make music come on. So I think when someone really has that fire in their belly, they will make it work. Which is just then having...
Eastbourne has, I think it's coming up in any day now, Eastbourne Youth Radio, which is on every year, and it's different schools in the Eastbourne area, and other groups as well, getting involved for 3 or 4 days, and they're putting a broadcast on for the whole...
That's fantastic. And that's the thing, isn't it? Because like you say, anyone can... And pretty much anyone at most ages can operate a streaming platform and do whatever, and within reason.
You can do radio from home.
Yeah, you can do radio from home. Yeah. And the thing, and that is that's obviously comes with its pros and cons. But certainly, what would be great is to, like we were saying before, kind of preserve or find a way of getting people to, if they've got a bit of a hunger for it, understand how they can do things in a more of a community type way, which is rather than sitting in your bedroom and doing it, which is, and look, no shot on that. I'd love to do that kind of thing, but it's just understanding and feeling back into that community is something that I think is really needed, where we're so kind of compartmentalized now. If we can find ways of bringing people together that way, then great. But as you say, there are infrastructural challenges to that, of course.
Exactly. And time constraints as well. So but how radio will evolve in the next 10, 20 years is anyone's guess.
No, indeed. Well, I mean, look, in your, the 40 years that you've been involved in this.
Thank you for making me feel. The way you said 40 years.
Excuse me, Gary. You said it first.
I know.
I was happy to leave it ambiguous.
It's just the way he said 40.
Looking at you as well.
40 not a day over 39, darling.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but in the time that you've been doing it, like you've, in the short little snippets that you've given us, that's been quite an illustrious path that you've followed, and the amount of experience and the things that you've gained that enable you to do the things that you do now. I'd hate to think those opportunities aren't there for people to start that path to become the next Gary King,
Wouldn't say that, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. If you've got passion for radio, and maybe there isn't the amount of people who are interested. When I was young, and those people are now in their 50s, 60s, there was a lot more people into radio than there are now. People got different hobbies. Technology has changed. Computers, probably a bit more younger people are into computers than they are into radio.
I'm sure that's true.
And DJing and things like that.
Yeah.
But if you like music, you like people, I always say to people, get involved with your hospital. If you're interested in radio, get involved first of all with your hospital radio station, because that's how I started. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. And Gary, just to the final question that we always ask everybody on this podcast is, you've told us a great journey of where you've come from, what you're doing now, but what does the future hold for Gary King, for Ashdown Radio? What's the next few years looking like for you?
Continue doing the events we do. We've got planned for next year all the Business Expos networking events. We'll do the Community Awards again in 2027. We will see how technology is going to evolve, how Ashdown Radio goes in the next few years, whether we go on to DAB, whether we continue on FM. I mean, they're talking about FM might disappear in the next few years. Hopefully not too soon, because we've just been given the go-ahead to expand on FM into Heathfield. Let's get that sorted.
Taste and then it's taken away.
No, I don't think there's any plans for FM to go quite yet. But at some point, they will turn around and say, we're going to switch off all the FM transmitters and you've all got to go digital, which means everyone's technology's got to change. Everything in the car has got to have a DAB or a digital enabled type of radio, Wi-Fi, whatever it's going to be. But I mean, it's going to be an interesting next 10 years or so.
Yeah. Wicked. Excellent. And to find out more about Ashdown Radio, the events you're doing, where's the best place for people to go?
Yeah, so go to our website, ashdownradio.com. There's our events page. I have listed it there, details early part of 2026 about our networking lunches, Spring Fair, the Wealden Business Expo. Find out there, or just drop me an email, sales@ashdownradio.com, or give me a call, 01825 598 698.
Damn, that's the radio in him.
That was so
just
smooth.
The steely eyes that you used to reel that off. I can't even tell my own phone number that coherently.
And people say, can I put a DJ voice? And this isn't my I don't know if it has been my DJ voice, because of course I won't watch and listen back to this because I hate listening and watching myself. But I know others will.
Someone will watch it, though, Gary. Someone will watch this.
No, but thank you guys for the opportunity.
Hey, no pleasure.
Thank you for your help over the last few months with everything, and I look forward to working with you.
Absolutely. Well, if they let me out of the asylum again, Gary, then
Do you need to find out who that person was who thinks you are in an asylum?
Well, they'll soon be reporting me back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for taking us. It's been amazing to hear all of that. And long may all of this continue, because it's an amazing thing that you do. And everyone around you that helps, that we've mentioned, keep fighting that good fight, because it's so important that we maintain these things and keep them growing.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good to see you.